is cold. It is very cold. Before I do anything else, I need to get a fire going. I think sometimes I forget how difficult it is to do this stuff and film it when it's cold. I really need to get this fire going before my body heat drops too much. Okay, fire is lit. It's amazing how much longer it takes to get a fire going in these kind of conditions when everything's wet. You gotta really baby it. But now I need to just sit by the fire and warm up. Oh. Yes. So when I build a fire, especially this time of year, like it takes a while before the fire actually feels warm, because you need to build up like a bed of coals at the base of the fire, and that's really what throws the heat out. So at first it's like, oh, you got some flames, but like it really, the fire just does not actually feel that warm until you have that hearth, that bed of coals that's developed underneath. So I'm just starting to feel like this fire's getting warm. My toes are freezing. It's so cold that I seem to be having trouble like translating my thinking into speaking. It's about -3, maybe it's actually a little bit colder than that, in Celsius. And that doesn't, in my mind, that doesn't really seem that cold. But it got cold, it feels like it got cold really fast. It feels like we suddenly went from fall to winter in the last 2 weeks. My last video, there's a lot of sparks in this fire. In my last video, it was much warmer, much more like fall, and now winter has descended. And I have not yet adjusted to this temperature. It feels very cold to me, but it's kind of funny because I was thinking about my very first video that I ever made on this channel. Was really close to this, in the same area, and it was a cold snap, and it was -25. It was so cold. Oh, but it was, at that point, I think it was probably mid-January. And so I was a little bit more adapted, used to being out in the cold at that point. But -25 Celsius, like, that's really cold. And okay, now it's warm. Yay. Maybe my words will catch up with my brain now. So one of the things that I love about being out here in the winter is that you can see evidence of the wildlife. And right here, I see a big old kitty check. So I think this is either a young cougar or maybe lynx. Either way, a large cat just cruising through along this little game trail here. good way to keep warm. So, I can't believe that it's been almost 2 years since I started this channel. And just kind of thinking back about what I've learned in the last couple of years about nature and bushcraft and myself, and wow. Yeah, a lot. I've learned a lot in the last couple of years. What have I learned? Well, that first video out here that I made, I almost took my leg off with an axe. One of the first times I ever used an axe, and oh my god, that would have been really, really bad. So I've learned to use an axe differently, according to my current level of skill. And I've also learned to change the camera angle many times to keep things more interesting. What else have I learned? I think I've learned, in terms of gear, I think I've learned to really, loosen up around, worrying about keeping my gear in perfect condition. And speaking of using your gear, one piece of gear that I've just, decided I'm going to use are my knives. I've heard, a lot of people kind of suggest, don't use your knife unless you absolutely need to, or else you'll, dull it and whatever. And I just, you know what? I just decided that I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it and enjoy it. I'm going to use it as much as I can and see what it can do, and just not worry about keeping it perfect. I don't know, what's the point of having it if I don't actually use it and enjoy it? And so that's what I'm doing, and yeah, that's what I try to do with my gear. All right, I'm going to eat my words a little bit, I think, because I just had this, huge ember, this big, burn a huge spot on my sheepskin. So you know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to put it inside my Jack Stillman poncho to protect it a little bit, because I'm still using it, but be responsible. All right, there's a line. No, you don't want to treat your gear like crap. But still want to use it. And by the way, if you are looking for one of the best bushcraft pieces of gear that I have, is this Jack Stillman poncho. Oh my gosh. This is the drifter poncho, and it goes everywhere with me. It really does. I use it as a ground cover if it's raining or cold. I use it over my body. I can use it as a emergency shelter. Oh, it's fantastic. 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10. I even actually took it under a waterfall once to test it. So if you want to see that, you can click this little link here. I'm going to do that pointy thing. So filming in the winter is just a whole different ballgame, you guys. It is much more difficult. It's way more work. It is difficult in that there's only 8 hours of daylight at this time of year where I am. So I think I probably have like an hour left before it's dark, and too dark to film, too dark to be for me to want to keep being out here. And so, yeah, there's just like a bunch of different challenges associated with it, and that's okay. It's just different. It's different than filming in the summer, so much different. And so my content looks a little bit different in the winter. In the summer, I love to go on more active adventures where I'm hiking or I'm canoeing, or I have a lot more energy to engage in like physical activities and get lots of different angles and things like that. And in the winter, it's just different. It's a slower kind of content. It's a more noticing the beauty in the small moments, and I guess sharing my thoughts and sharing the calmness that comes with sitting by a fire, and kind of like, getting to sit beside a fire together and chat. And that's sort of how I see it, or what it's kind of evolved into for me. But I think it's kind of that way in life in general as we descend into winter. And honestly, at this point, it's not even winter yet. Winter doesn't start for another 3 weeks or so. So the days are going to get that much shorter, that much darker before they start getting longer again. And this time of year, I have mixed feelings about this time of year. It's so beautiful, and this is one of the first snowfalls that we're having, which is stunning in its own way. But with the cold and with the snow, everything just takes more effort. And then, I don't know about you, but I know for me and for a lot of people, the holiday season kind of brings its own set of challenges, whether that's just busyness and lots to organize and lots to do, or whether it's, tied in with pain. Maybe there's been loss in your life, or there's strain in relationships that you have to face at this time of year, and those are not easy things. So if that's you, just, I don't know, I see that, and hang in there. Birds. There's something about sitting by a fire and just like staring into the coals that's, oh, it's so calming. It's like very grounding. And I find that when I can just sit here still for a little while and do that, like my whole nervous system just like calms down. It feels really good. I'm glad I'm here. Oh, these cute little Christmas trees. Little Charlie Brown trees. So it is already starting to get dark. I got my Pioneer lantern. This low misty cloud has rolled in, and it was amazing how I could see it coming, and I felt it. I felt the temperature just drop as the cool air hit my face. So I'm gonna have to get going pretty soon. But I do plan on doing some more hot tent camping adventures. I know I kind of like talked about how hard it is in the winter, but but I'm still gonna do it. I'm still gonna go out and do at least one night, maybe two, in my new RBM Panda hot tent, which is just amazing. And I think it's gonna keep me a lot warmer than my other hot tent did last winter. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, I'm just gonna enjoy the rest of my time here, I think, and get out of here before it gets too dark. It's a big kitty. I have actually seen a cougar in this area before. I came across it when I was exploring, and it just I guess it saw me, and it just turned tail and ran the other way, and I saw it running off. And I would say it was probably about 30 meters away from me. Gave me a pretty decent scare, and I didn't stick around for too long after that, but it was amazing to see. It was really amazing. And I know maybe for people who don't live in areas where cougars and bears and animals like that are common, it probably seems like insane that I'm here. But I don't know, like I grew up in these areas, and there's always a risk when you go outside of running into a cougar or a bear, but they generally keep to themselves. And of course, you hear stories about people encountering them and being injured or killed, but it's relatively rare. And you kind of have to decide, if it's worth it for you to chance running into dangerous wildlife and getting to go out and explore nature. And for the most part, wildlife seems to just not really want to interact with people. They just take off. And yeah, so, I mean, touch wood. It's my experience. I'm kind of backtrack following these cougar tracks here. So I did follow these cougar tracks, backtracking. The cougar was going the opposite direction, so don't worry, it's probably over that way. Actually, this is the area where I did see it last time. The tracks are coming from that area, so I'm not going to go any further over there. I don't want to wander too far away from my fire, and I don't need to invite that sort of risk. But it sure has been nice to explore the woods and be out here. So, I was wondering if you would like to have a cup of tea with me. I'm going to have some tea. Use these lovely coals I have here. So, I've been thinking, and the plants have enough. So, I've been thinking about this pretty deeply, and I think that the plants have enough spirit to transform our limited vision. I really believe that. Okay, so maybe that's what it says on my tea bag tag. And it was Rosemary Gladstar that said that. What a beautiful name. I wish that was my name. But you know what? I think she's probably right. It's like definitely tea season. Like I'm drinking a lot of tea. What kind of tea are you drinking these days? If you're a tea drinker. Maybe you're not. I don't know. I drink coffee too, but not past like 2 p.m. Well, friends, I think that is a wrap for my afternoon. I think I need to pack my stuff up. It's getting pretty dark, so I gotta get back to my car before it's too dark. And yeah, this has been a lovely, chill, and chilly afternoon. And thanks so much for being here. If you liked it, maybe consider liking, subscribing, maybe leave me a comment or hype this video. That's super helpful for smaller creators like me. And we'll see you next time.